For some reason, I was feeling very nostalgic today, and I was binge watching a shitload of shows from when I used to watch when I was little. For example, now, most of my 90s years, I'm from 94, but that's still a good 6 years. Most of those 6 years, I was poor as fuck, so I didn't really get to experience the cable 90s until the early 2000s. So, some of these shows, they're 90s, but they're only going to cater to the ones who were broke as shit, or the ones who did have cable but still wanted to watch the broke as shit channels. PBS, for example. I remember watching the story of Wishbone. That oh my god! For some reason I would wake up at 4:30 or 5 a.m. I can remember to watch a fucking little. I don't know if he was a bull terrier or something, but I do remember he had like a spot on his eye, and he would be the main center of a random story. And like I said, I started binge watching all this shit. And as I was watching these shows, I thought to myself, I really want the 90s to come back. Mainly because I want to experience the 90s as an adult. Because the 90s, when you experience them, you experienced with innocence. If you're a 90s kid, if you're born from 90, from 89, because it still kind of counts from 1999 to 1997, let's say. Because 99 and 90 and 99, not really much there. So from 89 to 97. If you lived the 90s, and if you were born in any of those years, you lived through the 90s with innocence. Now, after a certain age, you lose that innocence. And it's not because you wanted to, you have to, it's just because you fucking grow up. Now, living in the 90s as a 6-year-old, ending in the 90s, in 2000, I was 6 years old. If I were to go back in time and not affect anything and live in the 90s, I don't think it'd be the same. I really don't think it would be the same. One, I have a fucked up sense of humor, so any joke that went over my head that was a sexual joke back in the 90s or any kind of show, I would laugh at constantly. Like, I couldn't, it'd be impossible for me to watch the show again. I'm saying that because there are some shows, a lot of shows actually, that were kids shows, but had a fuckload of adult jokes. That cow and chicken episode, the carpet muncher one, I didn't really watch that show because it didn't really catch my attention. I'll go into the shows I used to watch in a few minutes or a few seconds. Let me just tell you how I feel on the whole 90s fad, okay? So, like I said, I was watching Johnny Bravo, and there was this one scene where a bunch of kids were playing with this blonde bimbo bitch, this pinche güerita with black dress, and she was saying something about being tied up. She's like, I can't remember the last time I was tied up. And she was like, oh, well, yes, I do. And she starts giggling all seductively. Like, that bitch was into kinky BDSM, 50 Shades of Grey kind of shit. I never got that when I was 5, 6 years old. Why would I? You know? And that's actually the moment that made me decide to this whole segment about the dirty jokes. And like I said, there's many jokes. You can look it up online. There's endless channels that have those kind of content on there. I can't come up with a good one on top of my head. If just look up dirty jokes in kid cartoons, and the first 10 videos are gonna be gold. I can guarantee you that. But like I was saying, let me just go over the shows that I used to watch, just so you know my perspective of how life in the 90s was for me. When I would get home, I would watch Arthur, Clifford, not Caillou, that was like around 11 or 10 a.m. For some reason, those are the two. Oh, Between the Lines, that was my shit back in elementary school. I would love that fucking show. I would sing it to this day. I sing along to the song. That's whenever I look it up on YouTube. I sing the fuck out of that song. That was my shit back then, and I hated reading. So that holds a special place in my heart. That really does. But yeah, that's like I said. I used to watch a lot of PBS shows, but for some reason I don't even remember those three. I mean, from the afternoon, from the morning, there was fucking Barney, there was Teletubbies, which were creepy as shit. I mean, back then they were awesome, but they were fucking horrifying nowadays. Because I thought it was a bunch of midgets running around in suits. Turns out they're fucking 10, 11 foot tall monotes that. Wala madre. Fuck that. I am just a dwarf compared to those fucking puppets they use. It's creepy as fuck. They're bigger than what Bigfoot's supposed to be. Let's just put that in perspective, okay? Me, Bigfoot, Teletubby. Fuck that. And like I said, the morning shows were Teletubbies, Caillou, Sesame Street, Wishbone. I can name I can't name all of them because they changed over the years, um, and a few days ago actually I put them on for my nephew, and the shows really changed. Oh, the Boomafoo and Zoom were some shows that I would watch too. They really changed the whole programming. They had this one Spanish speaking big headed fucking Green Lantern looking cabron who I think he's Mexican because he sounds real beanerish. But if you know what I'm talking about, just say it. I can't remember his fucking name. There's Word Girl. There's a dog that talks because some kind of soup or some shit. I don't know what the fuck PBS was smoking, but I want some of that. And oh yeah, the guys from Zaboomafoo, they have their own animated show. It's alright, but it's nothing compared to Zaboomafoo. Then around when I was about 7, 8 years old, around there, we got cable for the first fucking time. And that's when I started watching SpongeBob, Samurai Jack. Samurai Jack was my shit. Dexter's Lab, Billy and Mandy. Billy and Mandy was funny as shit. Courage, the Cowardly Dog, Powerpuff Girls. I have no shame saying that I used to watch that. Foster's Home, Kids Next Door. There's endless cartoons I can tell you. But let's go into the classic ones, the classic 90's cartoons. Let's see. Excuse me. I got upset stomach, indigestion, whatever the fuck it is. Let's see. There was Johnny Bravo, Cow and Chicken, Ren and Stimpy. Any Hanna-Barbera cartoons were I loved. Flintstones, even though they're like the 60's, they still came out in the 90's, so I count them. If not, fuck you. Hanna-Barbera cartoons like Flintstones, the Jetsons, Johnny Quest, Yogi Bear, all that shit. And like watching these fucking shows gave me so much of a nostalgia trip that I thought to myself, why isn't there a channel for both Nick and Cartoon Network where they just put nothing but 90's channels? Now, you might argue with me saying that Boomerang is like that, but Boomerang, no. I hate Boomerang now. Let me explain why before you start fucking trying to lynch me in the comment section. Boomerang, it's basically Cartoon Network shows that no longer air on Cartoon Network. So, as time goes by, the not 90's shows that come out on Cartoon Network come out on Boomerang. You see what I mean? Therefore, the 90's cartoons just keep getting pushed back to the back burner. Therefore, they don't get seen. So what I'm trying to come up with my sick, fucked up mind that has, for some reason, 5 voices, not including mine, get all the 90's cartoons from Cartoon Network. Get all the 90's, mainly, well, Nick was mainly live action, but still, there were good shows. All that, The Amanda Show, fuck, what was that one other show with, that one Juanita, it was like, Fuck, I gotta look it up. Anyway, just make their own fucking channels. And I can guarantee you, all of us 90s kids are gonna be glued. Some of them will probably, considering how fucked this world is, will literally glue their asses to their couches and watch that shit nonstop. I can almost guarantee you that. So, I really want that to happen. Fuck. I'm getting pissed off now. The good kind of pissed off, not that I want to kill someone pissed off. But, in conclusion, the 90s are awesome. Weird trends though. Weird fucking trends. Janko jeans, I never understood the use of. They were fucking. They look like, might as well wear a noun's outfit. A nun, my bad. Why did I say a noun? I'm not in grammar school. A nun outfit. Those chingaderas were like waist, bam. Like, really? Might as well dress up like a fucking nun. The toys. Oh my god, the fucking toys that came out in the 90s. I actually still have some of my old fucking toys stored in my closet because I refuse to get rid of them. Let's see if I can remember all of the badass toys I had when I was in the 90s. The first one that I remember is the wrestling buddies. They were like this big. They were like Sting, Hulk Hogan. Like, you would press on them and like they would make noises. Like, I think I had a mechanic on how hard you squeeze them determine what kind of sound it would make. I'm not sure if I'm right or not. I might have to do some research. But I remember having one of those. Mine was Sting, and I would beat the shit out of him. I had that. I had I can't remember what they were called. They were like big ass balloons instead of pillow fights and shit. But I would cheat, so I wouldn't inflate mine. I just punch the fuck out of whoever was. Yeah. What else? The 90s Star Wars monitos. The one, you know, the ones I'm talking about. That's like all green with a Darth Vader in the corner. Yeah, those. You could throw those against a fucking wall and they would last. Not these new ones. Fuck that. I'm not gonna throw them against the wall. They'll break instantly. There's so many. Oh, obviously Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Shit. How could I forget that? They were a big fucking staple in the 90s. And the game consoles too. NES, SNES, Sega Genesis, Sega Saturn, Dreamcast. Even though that was in '99, it still kind of counts. Or '98. I don't remember. 64, PS1. Even though I'm not a PlayStation guy. The only time I play a PlayStation is if Kingdom Hearts or any other game that's only on PS4 that I like. So, but out of all the best consoles, out of all the consoles from the 90s, my favorite had to be the Nintendo. But the only thing they had to fucking fix that I wish they didn't do was the invert aiming. Oh my fuck! I hated that shit. One of my favorite games on that was Conker's Bad Fur Day. And I would play that against my mother's orders. Or my mother's will. I don't know. I can't remember the word because it's fucking 3 a.m. in the morning and I can't sleep. I would play that game behind my mom's back. And I would get caught playing it. You know why? Because when I would try to shoot someone, I want to aim up. Naturally, you try to press the yellow up button. It would aim down. I would die. I would yell, fuck. My mom would come into my room. ¿Estás jugando ese pinche juego otra vez? So, yeah. I hate inverted controls to this day. And I think Nintendo started that. I'm not sure. But I think it did. And that's the only bad thing that I didn't like about the 64. Other than that, amazing console. You could drop that thing on a fucking concrete and it would still work. Try doing that with an Xbox One or a PS4 or a Switch. Like that, you need a new one. That's probably why warranty came along. I don't really have that much to say about the music because I didn't really listen to music in the 90s. The only music I had to listen to was the one of my mom would put whenever we had to clean because she wanted to clean to some music that she listened to when she was younger. But if we had to get technical, the music that I would listen to in the 90s a lot was... A lot of Mexicans are gonna back me up on this. Just ask any random Mexican. Los Bukis. That's like the number one band or group that your mom will put when it was time to clean. Los Bukis. And if she's like one of the whole southern, southwestern Mexican moms, she put like a lot of cumbias. Tropical Panamá, Sass, Topaz, Vaivén, Brindis, a lot. Renacimiento 74, Sonido Master, all that shit. Ask any Mexican. Mention these names I just said. And almost 100% of them will say, yeah, my mom will put that shit when we were clean. Unless they're one of the lazy fucks that didn't clean, then, hey, fuck them, okay? But that's mainly the music that I would listen to in the 90's, like, because I really didn't have a feel for music back then. I was a fucking kid, so I just wanted to play and shit. Go out in the dirt, fall down, scrape my knee, go tell my mom, and she'll tell me, pues pendejo, la otra, date más fuerte, you know? My mom would cuss like a bitch back then. She would cuss like a motherfucker. Now she found Jesus, and she doesn't cuss. So I kind of took over that for her. I kind of did, yeah. Anyway, and final conclusion. It's amazing how this all started with just saying I could not live the same in the 90's as an adult, as a kid. You know, it'd be two completely different points of view. Like, little kid, he has no responsibilities. Like, he's just alive to play, go to school, come home, watch cartoons, do his homework, go outside, play baseball and shit. Nowadays, the kids from nowadays come home from school, not do your homework, get on your fucking phone, get on your fucking Xbox, ignore the outside world, go on fucking Facebook, YouTube, look up some dumbass video on Jake Paul, and go to sleep. That's probably why kids are obese as fuck today. They were obese back in the 90's, but not as much as today. And you can't deny that. Statistics show. Cabrones. So I'll end this with saying I do want to live in the 90's, but at the same time, I don't. Because it's not going to be the same experience as I was a little kid. Because in being 23 years old, and it might look like I don't do shit because of my back and shit, I don't work, but I do have responsibilities around the house. Believe it or not. And that word responsibility, that's going to have a heavy-ass toll if I were to go back to the 90's and live in the 90's as a 23-year-old. It would not be the same perspective-wise. So I do want to go because I want to relive all the nostalgia and live through what I didn't live through, but I don't because I might not enjoy it as much as I did. So what do you think? Would you go back to the 90's in your original self, like how old you are right now, and live through the 90's all the way and then come back? Or would you say, no, I enjoy my memories how they are and I don't want to fuck with them? That's the question I'm leaving you fuckers with. And with that, I'll say I'll see you in the next video, and I'm going to try to get some sleep. Later, fuckers.